Howdy, howdy, everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome back. So we've got another great review for you today. We received a package in the mail. Super exciting times here on the channel. Because, mail time, and all that fancy stuff. Fail. Anyway, so we got this from Amazon. And here's my new plan of sorts, right? And I'm trying to stick to it. So what I'm doing is I'm picking a different prop every couple of weeks, and I'm just learning the basics of a routine for each of those props. So cards, coins, rubber bands, which is what I've been working on. So this is what we got here from Amazon. We have a book. Yes. So this is 50 tricks. That's going to be awesome. But here is what we actually received. Such a tiny little thing. So this, of course, is the ever elusive Scotch and soda. And we have 50 tricks to learn. Now, are we going to need all 50 tricks? No. But we may have some of them. That'll be great. So if I could do one trick with this, it's worth it. So we're trying to do a realistic review for you guys here. We have the props from Amazon, and from this buyer, it says here it's Wallfront Magic Coins, made in China. So my plan is to take a look at this. Now, a little bit of a backstory on this is I was down at Broadway Magic, I believe that's what it was called, down when I was on vacation. That's where I got the cards and some of the other stuff from. That being the case, what we have going on here, I don't know how it's going to compare. It already seems a little bit smaller, and that's really what we're here to determine. This is from Amazon. So the question is it any good? So what I carry on me right here is my trusty 50-cent piece. Now, how does this compare? This definitely does not look the same at all. Yeah, that definitely looks like a replica. Doesn't look very good. It's too shiny, for one. So I'm definitely not liking that. I'll have to kind of dull it down a little bit. Okay. So looking at it, it definitely looks like a replica, which this was a cheap version, mind you. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying financially, that's really all I could go for. Obviously, I might need to consider getting a different one. But the idea behind this is I've created an effect that's similar, knowing how this works with my shells that I have. And of course, we've got these little plastic things. But yeah, this was one of the items that I wanted to get when I was down there. So just from the idea of what we're looking at here, I can tell you that these do not look very good at all. I'm almost afraid that I could break it if I really tried to. Way too shiny, but not terrible. Not terrible. It's a slightly smaller than my 50-cent piece, and this is roughly about the same size, maybe a little bit smaller. Now what we have here is we have a little knocker piece. This is definitely a lower quality than what I saw. But if I remember correctly, you put this in here like that, and you're supposed to be able to tap it apart. I did manage to loosen it a little bit, I think. Oh, there we go. Got it. Okay. So now, I don't know if this, I don't think this is, doesn't fit in there, so it isn't. So the basic idea is this. So I'm reviewing this as it is here, but I'm going to upload, before I upload this one, you'll see, an actual magic trick with this, because I'll be doing that. But this is it makes me very nervous. This shell is not great. Now the question is, what does this do? So that goes in there like that. So what we have here is we have two coins. I'll get a little bit closer. And I'll bring this so you can see the comparative size here. So this is an actual 50-cent piece. This is in comparison. It is negligible, the difference in the size. But look how pretty that looks compared to this. So this is what I would prefer, something like that. Now, this piece comes in here. And so if you're looking at it, it's basically that and like that. And then it also comes with its own copper coin, as well as the separator. Okay. Now, dropping the copper coin always is great. Let's see here. So if you're interested in getting this from Amazon, if you don't have enough money, then this is probably fine to start. You know, get used to it. So now here's my confusion. The backs of these are different. So this is definitely a separate coin that you could do. Now I am curious with different backs. It's like the eagle fighting the snake or something like that. I guess it's not totally different. So this one is a detailed version. The actual coin is a detailed version of this one. It's still kind of cool. Let's just put it like that. So it's still quite interesting, to say the least. Now, I'm gathering that this fits into here, but not in any tangible way. So the copper coin will fit into the back, but it won't stay there. Now this one will actually go right in there. Now, we don't want it to be backwards because then they'll be able to tell. So, yeah, I don't even know. Okay, so that's what we have for the props, okay? Now let's take a look at the book, because in reality, this is going to be probably a separate video where we break some of this down, okay? And see if we could apply some of it to other stuff and whatnot. But in reality, this is going to be the breadwinner, okay? Because these are the gimmicks, but these are the tricks. So taking a look at the back, imagine this. The magician places an American $50 and a Mexican centavo, I do apologize if I mispronounced that, coin, in the spectator's hand. The magician bets the spectator that he can remove the copper centavo from their hand without them knowing it. The spectator is confident in accepting the bet, but when they open their hand, it has magically become a quarter. Interesting. Curious. Okay. That is only one of the many effects possible with Scotch and soda. The world's greatest coin trick. Armed with these incredible, clever coins, you'll they missed an L. You'll be blowing your spectator minds in no time. Some typos here. Anyway, so we're not going to read all that because we are going to come back and we're going to do a review on this separately. This is kind of more of an unboxing. But that was a trick. That was a trick that they just talked about. So let's make this happen, shall we? Okay, so pay close attention here. What do we have before you is we have a 50-cent piece and the Mexican centavo. Okay, now what I want you to do is I want you to take these in your hands and I want you to squeeze them together. Now I want you to take one in one hand, one in the other. Okay, now, which one is in which hand? In one hand we have a 50-cent piece. And in the other, of course, we have the Mexican... Nope, looks like we've got a Sacagawea gold dollar. Go figure. Go figure. So that's the basic idea, but there's a little bit more to it. There's some more subtlety to that, because this cost me $1.50. Okay, and if something like that cost me $1.50, there's tricks in there for you, for everybody, really. So we could do, a trick a day, whatever you want to do there. Basically, that's the idea. Now, the big question is getting this back out. You want to test it a little bit. So if I dropped it on the table, it's not coming out. But if I put it in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, eventually, right? There we go. So a good solid one comes right out. So I've just shown you one trick. Now, I'm going to leave you with this one little tip for that trick. If you have shells such as these, okay, these are my Morgan shells. Let's say you have your 50-cent piece. Okay, now I have 2. Count them. I have 2. Look at the subtlety here. I have 2 Morgan dollars. Okay, you can clearly see my 2 Morgan dollars. Now, what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring your attention to, okay, the 2 Morgan dollars. Now I want you to take these 2. I want you to put one in one hand and one in the other. Okay. Now I'm magically going to make one of them disappear, and I'm going to shrink one of them to a 50-cent piece. Can you tell me which one is which? Okay. By this time, they may have noticed that one of them has started to shrink, because we have one over here and we have one over here. But this is a 50-cent piece. Now, the subtlety here and the thing to be careful about is that these are for more like tabletop work. They're not very, like, putting them into a spectator's hand, you have to be very careful. My suggestion would be, typically this trick requires you to put it behind their back. My suggestion is not to do that with this type of trick. If you don't have Scotch and soda, but you do have regular ones, keep their hands right up in front and hand them everything, and then take them back in a orderly fashion. Don't just be like snatching it out of their hands. But the idea behind this trick, and the difference would be you have to do a reset with this one, is the subtlety that I love with this is this. I can display this. All I do in order to display the back is I just put that over top to show you the thickness. And showing you that it's not going inside there is enough. So I could easily just do this, and it looks great. Now what I'm doing in order to get it prepared is I'm sliding the one off and down into the hand here in the back. Okay, why am I sliding it into the back? Very simple. Because I want to hide it. But then when I move this one forward to grab this one, I'm turning and I'm pushing these together, and I'm pushing this into their hand. So the spectator is now getting this pushed into their hand. I close the hand. Good. Now I'm taking the other one. Okay. So like if I do something like this, where I'm taking this into their hand, pressing it into the hand. Now I'm taking this one and I'm pressing it into this hand, or in some type of fashion, whatever works best for you. You're placing it into their hand. If they have a chance to move this around, it might wobble. So if you like handed it to them like this was my initial idea. As I worked through it, this is how the other trick works, is that you hand it to them, you put it behind their back, and then they have to take one coin and put it together. Now what happens if behind their back they have the coins like this? What happens if they push off this and that falls out? That's a possibility. Ruins the trick. But if you put it into their hands, push this one, however, squeeze them shut, they might not be able to tell which is which if they're not familiar with the coins, And then you can say you're going to feel one of them shrinking, and then they're going to start to notice that one of them is smaller than the other. Then you have them open their hands. You can take this one first, show them that, then take this one and show them that. So that's a little bit of an idea for you if you want to get risky with a shell that you might have to normally worry about. Now the other thing to be conscious of right there is I accidentally put the head side on the tail side, and now you have a double-headed coin. If they notice that, happens. It's up to you to take that risk. Now, when we have these coins here, there's a lot more things to consider when we're doing a trick like this. The idea behind this is that when you're doing this trick, the difference in the size, excuse me, the difference in the size of this coin is noticeable. But I feel like it gives you that really mighty effect when you're taking that type of risk. Whereas with this one, it's such a subtle thing that your brain takes a little bit longer to register the difference in the size. Now, I like using the gold dollar as well. That is slightly smaller. So that is my unboxing / initial review of Scotch and Soda. Scotch and Soda. But stay tuned for more tricks coming out of this book, because I'm going to do some really nice shorts coming up real quick. And I know we've got you for 16 minutes here. So thank you guys for coming along. And remember, stay positive, stay active, and stay awesome. And we'll see you in a whole bunch more videos coming real soon. And don't forget, Battle of the Gods is coming to Kickstarter very soon. And hopefully we get them in our mailbox soon, because other people are already getting them. So, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.